Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today, what I wanted to do was something a little bit different. I wanted to give you kind of like a sneak peek and share one of my private trade and market breakdowns that I have in my Discord. So typically, I do these every day, every other day, and then I also do weekly reviews as well. And these are just for my private Discord, right? And I say private, but it is free access, so I'll leave a link for that in the description, but I wanted to kind of give you like a taste of it on my YouTube channel, just so you can kind of know what to expect. And yeah, I put a lot of time into these, and I think they are very beneficial for people who want to get in there and learn. So I just wanted to give you a sneak peek of what that looks like here. So without further ado, here is the market breakdown. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Wanted to do a quick top-down analysis of today's price action because there's some really good things here. Starting from midnight open all the way till close. So I wanted to just walk through London session, New York AM session, and then where our daily targets hit or when our daily targets were hit, and all that good stuff. So let's go into it, break things down. Starting on the daily chart right here, there's some really, really good stuff right here that I wanted to cover. Because if we take a look at some of this price action over here, right? Obviously, we've had a really big rally the last several weeks slash months. If you take a look over here, this price action right here, this was a manipulation above these relative equal highs right here. Okay, and then it resulted in a move down for the next several months. What are these last three up close candles that did the damage above these highs? Well, we see that as a change in the state of delivery, right? And you can see right here with the closure below the opening price right here, we went back up, hit that, and then went lower. Now, if we take a look at today's price action and this daily candle, obviously this is a huge manipulation wick higher into a couple different levels. Now, keeping an eye on these right here, what is it paired with? A couple of daily SIBIs right here. So with this big movement higher again over the last several months, it does make sense that we would see some correction and some retracement here. I'm not quite 100% positive on an all-out reversal yet. That's something I'll talk about in a little bit. But this rejection right here is extremely meaningful because what we've done this week is take out the previous week high into this SIBI right here, and look how the top of that candle went to the very high of that fair value gap. But there's another thing that I want to mention, and with these three up close candles right here, right? And obviously over here, what we did was we went and retested the opening of this candle, and that's where the change of state of delivery occurs. But there's also more important levels here, right? And if we take a look at this large wick right here, right? Wicks are imbalances, right? So on a lower time frame, if you were to zoom in here, like on the 4 hour or hourly, there would be a wick here, or not a wick, excuse me. There would be an imbalance right there. I'm not going to do it here just for the sake of recording the video, but within any gap, what's an important level is the midpoint, right, in the quadrants. So if we take a fib to measure out the midpoint of this level right here, of this wick, that orange line is the midpoint. So I'll get rid of the other ones just so we can see it a little bit clearer. And take a look at where the high of the day came in at. So the midpoint of this wick is 21858.5. And the high of this daily candle right here, take a look in the upper left hand corner as I hover over it, is 21858.75, and the midpoint right here is 21858.50. So it went a tick above that high right there. And then also the high of this daily civvy. So that is a really specific level that price went up to and rejected. And once we get to the lower time frames, you're going to start to see how price broke down starting from overnight session and then had that continuation into the morning session. Okay, but where, sticking on the higher time frame here again, where did the reversal end up drawing towards? again, is this daily BISI right here. So we were looking at the previous day low today as a target. And why was it even more high probability? It's because it was also a daily BISI. So that was an important area for us to draw to when the lower time frame started to show that that was a likely scenario. Now, I was originally bullish going into the day, and I want to talk about where and when I changed my daily bias. Um, is after this candle right here. I was anticipating that we could potentially keep drawing up into this daily CIBI right here, this imbalance, because I didn't want to try and pick a top, especially just in this price action right here. But what we began to see and the confirmation that came was once we closed below on the 4 hour time frame, this imbalance right here, there is nothing stopping price from reaching this previous day low in that daily BISI, right? So you can see a closure below this. We went up, tapped into it, and drew right down to that previous day low. So I called that once we closed below this right here, that higher prices were no longer in store and we were likely going to be drawing lower. So that's a really good way and a good thing to note whenever you are trying to gauge order flow and maybe you're on the wrong side and you're not sure and you need to ask yourself the question, are we respecting bullish PD arrays and disrespecting bearish PD arrays or vice versa? And right here, obviously, we're disrespecting bullish ones after hitting a higher time frame SIBI. So we're respecting um, bearish ones and we're disrespecting bullish ones on the higher time frame. So that gives you higher time frame direction and draw on liquidity. And what was the most obvious thing is this previous day low right here, this daily BISI, and it's also a 4 hour intermediate term low because it dug into this 4 hour fair value gap right here. So it's a really, really good draw on liquidity once we got confirmation of those lower prices right there. And this is all happening after sweeping these this previous week high or these equal highs right here. So really good quote unquote pattern right here in price action. And so I want to talk more about the price action that happened up here on the lower time frame, and we'll go down to the hourly time frame here. So this is the hourly time frame here, and I want to talk about this overnight action and why it was a little bit more difficult to derive a really firm bullish bias. And it was really because simply I didn't want to just try and pick a top. There's this big range right here from this low to this high, and there's equilibrium right here. So I was looking at this 1 hour fair value gap as a possible area where we would see longs from. But if I'm looking for longs from here, obviously I need price to reach here. So this was a draw on liquidity for London session, right? And then based on how we reacted here, if we just blast right through it or we start to hold and show signs of going higher, well, that's an area where I could potentially see, again, higher prices, but that wasn't the case. But nonetheless, let's talk about this overnight action right here and how you could have anticipated a draw back to at least equilibrium of this price range from this low to this high up here, right? So again, look at the reaction from the midpoint of that daily fair value or that daily wick right here within that daily order block. Really good. And what happened following that is we created an hourly change in the state of delivery. Okay, so we had this overnight high right here. We can call this Asia high. And we know that about 70% of the time, London can create the high or low of the day. So if you're bearish, you want to see it create the high of the day, and if you're bullish, you want to see it create the low of the day. What's going to happen if something is going to create a set in stone high or low? Well, there needs to be like a form of manipulation into a meaningful gap. So we're already trading inside of this daily SIBI right here. So this is a meaningful gap, right? And what's that meaningful liquidity? Well, session liquidity, previous day high liquidity, previous day low, previous week high. In this case, it was session liquidity being Asia high. So that was the previous session of London, right? It goes Asia and then London. If we know that London's going to potentially create the high of the day, we want to see it sweep Asia high right here in this scenario. and then give us that change in the state of delivery lower and start to see price breaking down. And so take a look at this up close candle right here, right? This did the manipulation higher. This single up close hourly candle went above Asia high, and we can consider it relative equal highs because of all of these stacked highs right here. So this did the damage, and then the displacement through confirmed that this was our change in the state of delivery. So an order block right there. And also, it was paired with an hourly SIBI right here as well. So that's a high probability order block whenever it's paired with a fair value gap. We actually never got a return to this fair value gap, which tells you that it's very, very weak, especially when we're originating from a daily SIBI right here. Now, again, during market analysis and my pre-market outlook, I said we had good bearish structure overnight. I don't want to try and pick a top, so I'd be looking for something potentially like this, right? That ended up not being the case because we weren't bullish anymore. We ended up being bearish. And so I finally got that confirmation on the closure below, again, this 4-hour BISI right here. So that's how you can really measure your order flow and know when you're on the right or wrong side of price. Is just, again, keep asking yourself what's getting respected and what's getting disrespected. Okay. So if we take a look again on the lower time frame price action right here, how can we confirm on an even deeper level that this is a change in the state of delivery and this was manipulation and we're not just going to go do something like this, like go take this low and then go higher, or go into this and then go higher? Let's go down in the 15-minute here and talk about it a little bit. Okay, so not only on that hourly time frame do we have this change in the state of delivery, but we also have it on the 15-minute right here. So these three consecutive up close candles went and took this Asia high right here and these relative equal highs. Again, you can look at the perfection of that tap into that CE of the daily order block, and then we had displacement through. Okay, so this is a really good pattern in price, is when we see what's called a balanced price range. So we expect balanced price range gaps to be left open, and you can see right here it was um, just barely, but nonetheless it was still left open. So if we take a look at this 15-minute SIBI right here, again we're looking at this upper portion as being left open, and look at the midpoint of it being respected, right? And it's paired with this inversion fair value gap. So price displaced through, created a SIBI and a BISI. Now we're holding those two. So it's kind of like double confirmation, if that's what you want to call it. But we're holding this. We have relative equal lows right here. And this is happening on the time frame beneath the hourly. So if you think about price at a fractal level, if we're looking at an hourly change in the state of delivery, it makes us feel even better that this really is an order block when we start to see price action unfold like this on the lower time frame, right? And this applies on all levels, right? If you're looking at a 5-minute order block, pretend this is a 1-minute time frame right here. These are 1-minute candles, and you're seeing something like this. And then this is a 5-minute order block. Well, wouldn't this make you feel a whole lot better that that order block was going to hold, right? So it's a really good thing to have in price action when we start to see price unfold like this for lower price. Um, Now we can go down to the 5-minute time frame, I believe it was, or no, it was a 2-minute here. Okay, so now you guys know my entry confirmation is I look for the highest time frame inversion fair value gap within the leg, right? So remember, we're trading inside of this 15-minute SIBI now and this 15-minute inversion fair value gap. So this is an area of interest where we can potentially look for shorter prices or for lower prices, right? And so we don't have a 1-minute here, or excuse me, we do have a 1-minute here. We have a couple, right? And I kind of just want to draw out the 15-minute just so it's a little bit easier for people to follow along just in case. I don't know how new you are to price action or anything like that, but we're looking at this 15-minute SIBI right here, right? We're trading higher into it. What's an obvious draw on liquidity at any time is equal highs or equal lows. These are perfectly equal lows right here. This is all engineered sell side liquidity. So we're trading up into this 15-minute. I go through my time frames, the 1 through 5-minute right here, to look for what's the highest time frame fair value gap. There was a 2 minute. Is there a 3 minute? No. Is there a 4 minute? No. And is there a 5 minute? No. So 2 minute is what you're working with right here. We get a really good pattern of SMT at the high, the internal high inside a 15-minute fair value gap. And we have a 2-minute change in the state of delivery below here paired with a breaker. So the three best PD arrays that are going to tell you that there really is a change in the state of delivery or a reversal in price is the inversion fair value gap, the breaker, and the order block. All right, so we have all three of them right here. And we have SMT to confirm it there as well. So if we go to ES, this high wasn't taken. On NQ it was. So just a really, really good setup here in London. I don't trade London. I'm not awake at 5 in the morning right here. This is my time, obviously, so not trading that, but just wanted to cover it because I know some people here do trade London, and if you can go into it every single day, trying to anticipate the high or low of the day and look for, patterns in price like this and characteristics like this, then you can have a really good success rate in London. All right, so we began to see price just really sell off right here, and going into the morning, take a look right here. Let me pause the video real quick. All right, sorry guys, I'm a little bit sick, so just had to do something here. But so now at this point in the day, it's 8 a.m. on this candle closure, and we have New York Open coming up. So if we have a London high of the day, what do we anticipate New York to be? Is a continuation, right? So London went higher and then lower. We began breaking down, and then we don't want to see New York manipulate because London already did that manipulation. We want to see it continue towards the draw on liquidity. Now, at the time, I wasn't set in stone on the draw on liquidity being lower because I thought we could see a potential reversal right here, right? I still wasn't set in stone on this being the high of the day yet, but you could still look for a move to this discount 1 hour fair value gap, and you don't even need to be right about it going all the way down to previous day low. You can just look for lower hanging fruit targets because again, we're just looking for a return down to the midpoint of this range right here. And then if you want to hold runners all the way down here, then that's really good too. Um, so this hourly was left open, right? So if we go down to the lower time frame where we're leading up into New York Open right here, there was 8:30 news today, so if you look at this 15-minute 8:30 a.m. candle, this is a data wick high. If you don't know what that is, anytime news leaves a wick, there's going to be liquidity above or below that wick right here. And we can see that this liquidity was resting right below an hourly fair value gap right here. So if we kind of just fast forward into New York Open, which is this vertical line right here at 9:30, prices again leaving generated sell side liquidity, relative equal lows, trend line liquidity right here, right? And then we're going higher. Where? Well, if we're gonna go lower, we want to manipulate higher first. We take this data high right here, and then what is this? Right? You can see I already have it labeled, but that is an order block. Those two up close candles was obvious manipulation above an important point of liquidity. You can even call it this high too because these are relatively equal into what? An hourly fair value gap right here. So manipulating important highs into an imbalance, that is where your highest probability setups and your fastest runs are going to come from, is when those two things are combined with each other. An open imbalance resting right above or below important liquidity right here. And then you start to see this again, this type of pattern. Doesn't it look exactly like what we were just looking at in London? Is these highs right here, except it's on a different time frame this time, right? It's on a 1 minute time frame. These two up close candles, this down close candle is your breaker. There's no inversion fair value gap within this leg right here. That's obvious, right? We have a 2, we have a 3, we have a 4, and then we have the 5 right here. Price tanks below before even giving an opportunity on the 5 minute. But if you take a look on the 1 minute, order block, fair value gap, tap the order block. Manipulation already happened prior to the opening bell, so do we need to manipulate again? No, because the manipulation was done right here and our change in the state of delivery was already set in place. So what can you expect opening to do? Not manipulate, but distribute to where? All of this engineered sell side liquidity right here. And that's exactly what it does. Very, very fast move lower. Where? Into this hourly. So where do we immediately start to see some rejection is this discount hourly fair value gap. So you see how all these things are aligning, right? And price is moving with a reason here. And so at this point, I was really waiting to see how we were going to react from here. And again, it's hard for me to like be active with price based on the situation I'm in. If you don't know it, go look at the video in the Start Here tab. But you can see we got to close below this hourly fair value gap. Are there any more hourly fair value gaps down here? No. So this was the last line of defense. In combination with that, we had to close below, again, the 4-hour fair value gap. So at that point, I said, okay, we are going to head lower. And that is what we ended up doing, right? So I said previous day low was the target at this point. It got hit, and then we kind of just teetered off at that point and did a whole lot of nothing. I actually took a loss right here, um, trying to just like a really simple external liquidity into internal liquidity trade right here. I can cover it real quick, very, very quick. It's just this hourly imbalance right here was left open. This important point of liquidity, this previous day low, into a daily BISI right here. Since I am not able to be as active on the charts, I'm trading higher time frame inversion fair value gaps, so like 15-minute or hourly. I saw a 15-minute inverse right here after sweeping this previous day low. Obvious rejection there. I forget if there was SMT. No, no SMT. But we closed above this 15-minute right here. Wanted to target internal range at this hourly right here. Um, and was anticipating a PM reversal. So London manipulated higher, New York AM went lower, and then since our target was hit, I wanted to see a PM reversal, not all the way up here, right? Doesn't need to go all the way up here, but just something into like internal range liquidity. That ended up not happening. Again, price just ended up teetering off and consolidating the rest of the day after the target was hit, and that was pretty much that. Okay, so that's really the breakdown of today's price action and everything like that. As far as what I'm anticipating going into tomorrow for Friday, this daily BISI and this order block right here, potential order block, is going to be really important in how we react here as far as if we're going to be bullish or bearish. So this is like your line in the sand, and I really need lower time frame structure to give me more guidance at this point because at this time it's 7:44 p.m. at night, right? Nothing's happening right now. It could go either way, right? But I'm honestly favoring lower prices until this order block right here. And then how we start to react in this area is going to be really important. But this is pretty convincing of potentially lower prices for short term right now. And then if we start to close below here and back towards this weekly open, then we could start talking about, potentially going down here and even lower. So that's gonna be it for today, guys. Um, Appreciate you watching. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. All right. Be safe.